Right, national speed limit, sweetie. Oh, this is absolutely ludicrous. So the Fast and Furious films are all about cars and family. And we have the actual ZL1 from the latest Fast and Furious film here today. But does it work in the real world with a real family? Shall we find out? My name's Ben and welcome to Dadcars.
Can I fit in?
You're in. There's always room for family. God, that's a terrible Vin Diesel impression, isn't it? So this is a very famous ZL1. You've likely already seen it on a drag strip or going sideways around a track or on the big screen. But it's ultimately a four-seater car, so you should be able to use it as a dad car, right? But first off, let's focus on the looks. Wow. I like to think that if a hardcore eco-warrior was sleeping at night and having a nightmare of being chased by a gas-guzzling monster, it would be this car, driven by Darth Vader with Mike Tyson riding shotgun. It's so menacing looking, isn't it? Completely bonkers, and I absolutely love it. And as outlandish as this thing looks, all of that aero is functional. It was developed at the wind tunnel used by Mercedes F1 team. When me and my daughter take this monster out for a drive, I'm going to tell you about the reality of the UK running cost of a ZL1, and I guarantee it will shock you. But this is the Dadcars channel, isn't it, Pickle? So what's most important is those rear seats. So we have a look at them, yeah? Right, so getting in the back of the Camaro ZL1. Let's have a look. What's it like compared to the Mustang? Well, fairly similar. Fairly similar to the Mustang, I would say. So the seats are actually really quite big and deep. You know, really good sized seats. It's just obviously with this muscle car roofline that comes down. It looks incredible from the side profile, but let's check the leg space. Yeah, look, the leg space is brilliant. It's just this head space. I don't know how else I can lie back. So the usability of these rear seats will likely start to be impacted when your children get into their teenage years, I would say. But still, you could fit teenagers and adults back here for short journeys, no problems. But what about child seats? Now, in America, they don't use Isofix per se. I think they call it latch. But this does feel like it has what we would call, over here, Isofix. So let's have a look. So the Isofix base fits in the back of these cars excellently, and I put it behind what I thought was the passenger side, which is obviously the driver's side. But unless you're a jockey, you're probably going to want to put that behind the passenger here. But for a passenger, I think that front seat would still be usable. Over here for today, I've got one of my trusty travel child seats. However, I think you could get most child seat Isofix solutions back here. These seats are really well designed for child seats. But Ben, where are you going to put the buggy? Well, obviously in the boot. It's actually a really big boot. The opening to it is a little bit tight, but it's very deep. Right. How loud is that? That is so loud, isn't it? Right then, Pickle. Let's go for a drive in a Camaro ZL1. Can you believe that we're in a ZL1 right now on UK roads? How special is this? Did you know, Pickle, there's only about 12 ZL1s in the UK. A Lamborghini Aventador is a far more common sight on UK roads than a ZL1. I mean, to be fair, than any Camaro. So the engine on a ZL1 is a monstrous 6.2 litre supercharged V8, all American muscle, which produces around 650 horsepower from standard. But this car is not standard. It's a muscle car, remember? And those are the rules. You've got to modify your muscle car. So this has got an upgraded intake and throttle body, a stage 2 3-port methanol injection kit. So basically it's producing 770 horsepower now. Christ. I mean, 0 to 60 standard is supposed to be about 3.5 seconds, but this will be quicker if you can keep the power down. You know, you came with Daddy when we did the Mustang on the channel as well, the Mustang GT. So this is the second muscle car that you've been in, and you're only 3 years old, aren't you? How cool is that? So this isn't the first time I've driven a Camaro. Me and my wife, before we started our family, we drove across America, and we hired a Camaro SS and drove it across Florida for 2 weeks. And I've absolutely loved the Camaro ever since then, but I must say here on UK roads, it does feel a lot bigger. Although apparently these are supposed to not be as big as a 6th generation Mustang. which look, having driven both, I can't really wrap my head around that. This feels a lot bigger. Right, sweetie, look. So we just have a little feel what this acceleration's like. Just going up to 40, look, watch this. Oh! Oh, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Right, look, that's the speed limit, sweetie. So we have a little look. We're obviously not going to go mad, very sensible on the Dadcars channel, but look, ready? Honestly, that's probably what, like 1 inch of throttle input. Insane. It's very cool, isn't it? Wow. So the thing with muscle cars that everyone grumbles about is that the interior quality is rubbish and it feels really cheap. But honestly, let me tell you, the interior in here feels incredible. It feels so exciting. Now that likely has been massively enhanced by the fact that Gary has put carbon fibre trim everywhere. And it looks fantastic. I love the fact that this has got analog dials either side, sandwiching that digital screen in the middle. Honestly, I think in a muscle car, you absolutely need to have analog dials. It's annoying that the modern Mustangs is a completely digital screen. Oh, this is a bit of me. This is a bit of me, sweetie. Alright, let's see what it's like on this roundabout. Oh, you can hear that supercharger whining. So much drama with this car. So let's talk about running costs then for a ZL1 here in the UK. And we'll kick things off with miles per gallon. So according to the computer here, it's saying that this car is averaging 16.8 miles per gallon, which is probably likely what you would expect, you know, not that great. However, that is in American gallons. So converted to UK gallons, it's about 20. So 20 miles per gallon average, mixed driving. I mean, the absolute best that I can get on my V12 Aston Martin is like 21 on a run. So that is really shocking and quite impressive if you ask me. But Gary has recorded that on a run in this, he has got in UK gallons around 32 miles per gallon, which is absolutely insane. Now, obviously on a track, you're going to be seeing single digits, but 20 miles per gallon average and 30 on a run, dare I say it, that actually sounds like a reasonable car. Road tax here in the UK for a car like this, you would expect would be the full fat £630. However, it is not. Because this car is an import and it's over 1.5 litres, it's at a fixed rate of £275. To put that into perspective, there are some model variant EcoBoost Mustangs you can buy here in the UK, which will have a higher road tax annually than this. Insurance as well. I was expecting insurance for a fire-breathing monster like this to be sky high, but Gary only pays £500. Now, I know that's subjective to age and no claims and all the rest of it, but still £500 for this car. I just couldn't believe that. Then servicing and maintenance as well. Now, obviously, they've never sold the Camaro here in the UK. So you're probably pretty limited, I imagine, around the UK with the places that you can take it to. But we're quite fortunate because here in Hampshire, we've got a place called Outward Classics who specialise in these V8 engines. So Gary buys all of the parts for a service himself and then gets Carl at Outward to do it. And it costs about £200 for a minor and £400 for a major, which is just incredible if you ask me. But I also expected the ZL1 to have high maintenance costs, you know, things going wrong and then you're having to pay out loads of money to put them right all the time. But Gary has owned this car for 4 years and you'll never guess how many miles he's put on it in 4 years. What do you think? 1,000 miles a year tucked up in the garage? No. 2,000 miles a year? No. 5,000? He's put 10,000 miles a year on this on average. 40,000 miles in 4 years. And I asked him for some horror stories when things went wrong and he said there was only one thing where a water pump failed and it was 2 days labour to fix it. But other than that, over 40,000 miles, 4 years, it's been pretty reliable. Just been servicing it and making modifications to it. Oh, God. Oh, I can't even begin to imagine what this would be like to just slam your foot down to the floor. So yeah, look, the running costs here for a ZL1 in the UK seem very reasonable to me. certainly compared to all of the Maseratis, Aston Martins and Ferraris that I feature on the channel, I mean, this seems like a complete bargain to run. But how much would it cost you to buy one here in the UK? Well, used prices are around 70,000, which again might sound like a lot, but it's not really for this. Not with a car with this level of drama and presence and rarity. £70,000. I don't know how much this one's worth. Now it's been in Fast and Furious. Surely that carries a bit of a premium, doesn't it? I don't have friends. I got family. God, my Vin Diesel is terrible. Right, national speed limit, sweetie. Let's slow down a little bit. There's no one behind me. Right. Oh, this is absolutely ludicrous. It's really loud in here, considering I think it's got about 20 kilograms worth of sound dampening to sort of make it more refined, which when you're just cruising along like this, you can feel that refinement. But when you slam your foot down, the whole car comes alive and rumbles. But I know externally, when I was doing the drive-bys earlier on, Christ, is this loud. The other annoying thing about the UK as well is there's only one dealer who sells Corvettes in the country, which is never good, generally for like customer service and things, is it? Because if you're not happy with the service you're getting, you can't say to them, well, look, stuff you, I'm going down the road and going to the other one. You're kind of stuck, they've got you over a barrel. So while on the surface, this car is just ridiculous in every single way, isn't it? It looks crazy, it is so loud. So powerful, rear wheel drive. Well, look behind. My little sweetheart there, look, she's fast asleep. I'm actually really impressed with the ride quality. I thought this was going to be much more track focused. I mean, I have got it in just the touring mode, so it's in the most sort of comfortable setting, and I'm just going to leave it in that because she's sleeping now. So while it might look like the devil itself to a Tesla fanboy, I'm happy to confirm that, look, you could use this as your dad car. Well, Gary has, hasn't he, for 4 years. But you've also got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, got all the mod cons, everything you would need to use this as a car. And another big pleasant surprise for me is just generally piloting this around. This is the first time I've driven a left-hand drive car on UK roads, and I thought it was going to be much more intimidating than it is, but I'm pleased to confirm I've actually sort of adapted to this really quickly, and despite that this feels so wide, I'm not wincing as I'm driving this thing around. Sure, you're going to have some issues sometimes when you're sort of merging on a road at a funny angle and things like that, but generally speaking, I think you could live with it. I do wonder whether, because you're on the left side and because this is such a big vehicle, if you're on a really tight country lane, like I was when I drove the Ferrari FF recently, you know, maybe the sort of scale and driving position might be felt a little bit more then on UK roads. The other good thing about the ZL1, if you're using it as a dad car and you've got a baby, say if you need to change that baby's nappy, you could use that front splitter because it's so massive, it's a flat surface, you could use that as actually like a baby changing platform to change their nappy. So, you know, it's more practical than you think. Now, as I said earlier, other than the film, this is quite a famous car. It's been featured in several amazing YouTube videos. It's got millions of views across all of those videos. And you might already follow this car on Instagram, because Gary's got a massive Instagram account as well. If you don't follow this car on Instagram, please do that right now. He makes loads of incredible content with this car. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Gary. Thank you so much for letting me drive this car, me and my daughter today. Gary is a father himself. He's got an 11-year-old son. And he has used this car over the last 4 years countless times to make incredible memories with his son, which is obviously what the Dadcars channel is all about. And he told me that this is a forever car for him, and one day it will be his son's car. Now, how amazing is that? If you're watching this right now and you've got an interesting car, It doesn't matter about the value, it can be any value, but if you find it interesting, I'm talking to you now. If someone came to you and said, look, a friend of a friend has got a child who is unwell, they're poorly, but their dream car is the car that you own, and the parents were wondering if you would take them out for a quick drive in it, it would mean the world to them. Would you take that child and their parent out for a quick drive in your car just to see the joy in their eyes? Yes or no? If you said yes to that, you need to become a sporting bear. That is just one of a huge list of amazing things that the sporting bears do. And honestly, I urge you to check out the website. If you've got any questions at all about them, find me personally a message on Instagram and I'll be happy to answer any questions you've got. So in summary then, for the ZL1, this car is what the Dadcars channel is all about. A father who owns it, using it to make memories with his child, sharing it with the sporting bears, and sharing it with the world, with all of the videos it's been featured in, and the fact that this car's got so many treasured memories, that Gary's child is going to become the owner of this one day. That really is what the Dadcars channel is all about. Don't care where you go, what you do, even popping to the shops, dropping your kids off at gymnastics, whatever. If you're in this car, it's an event, it's memorable. You're gonna have a smile on your face. I absolutely love it. And while the ZL1 might be the most extreme Camaro you can buy, I would be very happy buying myself a Camaro SS at some point. I think it's one I've got to tick off. I'm gonna add it to the bucket list. There we go, I said it. I will own a Camaro SS at some point. I absolutely love it. Look, thank you all so much for watching. I'm off to go and put a vest on, have a cold beer and work on my Vin Diesel lines. See you later guys, bye bye.